Hey, 7th grade. Back to the TDA. I'm going to help you guys start in on our essay map. We're not going to finish it in this video because we haven't really dug apart the article yet. I know we read some of it, but we're not at the stage where we're getting our evidence yet. But we do need to know, hey, what the heck are we looking for? So if we look at our essay map, we can actually do the first 3 parts of it before we really even read the article. So the first part is, what is the prompt? What is it asking us to do? So if I have it on a PowerPoint. I'm try to move my screen here so I can get to the PowerPoint. If we check it out, okay, here's our prompts. I know I shared it in class. We're going to write it down together. It says this passage, or the passage, discusses the foods and dining habits of the ancient Romans. Write an essay comparing and contrasting the foods, dining customs, and wealth of ancient Romans and Americans today. Use the evidence from the passage to support your response. So that is a very long prompt. We're going to look at it together. But the first thing it wants us to do is put the prompt on the essay map. So I'm going to copy and paste it. What you can do is pause the video and fill it in on your class kick, or fill it in on your paper if you need to. So I'm going to go ahead and paste it. Oh no, it's not going to let me paste. One second, folks. All right, folks, it did let me paste. But I had to use Control V. So I hit the Control button and the V, and that is paste. Okay. All right. Now, obviously, it's super big, right? We don't want it that big because then we won't be able to see it. So I have to hit the T minus or the text minus to make it smaller. So there, I made it smaller. Now it fits in the box. Okay. Perfect. So the next thing it says is, what are the verbs? What are the verbs? So verbs are words that mean action. So what is it asking us to do? So if we go to our prompts, I'll use the big version. It says the passage discusses the foods and dining habits of the ancient Romans. It says write an essay. So the first verb we have is write. So let's go ahead and put that in here. Write. What other verbs? What else is it asking us to do? And I say comparing and contrasting. Okay, so comparing and contrasting, that's asking us to say what's the same and what's different. So let's go ahead and put that on here. So we have compare. That's the stuff that's the same. We have contrast. That's differences. All right, let's go check out, see if we have any more verbs. So write an essay comparing and contrasting the foods, dining customs, and wealth of ancient Roman and Americans today. Use evidence from the passage to support your response. So here we have use evidence. So let's add that as well. All right, so we're using evidence. All right, does that fit in there pretty good? No, it's still kind of big. So let's use our text minus. If you ever want to make something bigger, just hit the text plus, okay, to make it larger. All right, next it says, what are the key words in the question? Now, keywords are important words. What words do we need to look at to understand the prompt? What words are we probably going to talk about? So if we go back here, let's look at the prompt again. It says the passage discusses the foods and dining habits of the ancient Romans. Write an essay comparing and contrasting the foods, dining customs, and wealth of ancient Romans and Americans today. All right. So we see actually we have a couple of words underlined, right? Foods, dining customs, and wealth. So those look pretty important. And actually it says it a couple different times, right? Foods, dining habits. So let's go ahead and Control C to copy that. We'll go over here and we will Control V to paste it. Let's see if there's any other ones over there. So it says write an essay comparing and contrasting the foods, dining customs, and wealth of ancient Romans and Americans today. So we know we're going to have to talk about Romans and Americans. So let's Control C to copy that. And Control V. We'll make it just a little bit smaller. Perfect. All right, so now we have the verbs, what it's asking us to do, and now we have the key words, what it's asking us to talk about. So then we get to restate the question or restate the prompt to create our thesis. Now here's a little tip. If we look, we see the rest of the map, it wants to have us to have a claim. We don't just need one claim. Claim is going to be your point, what you're trying to prove. But you just don't need one. You actually need three. So in our thesis, we should probably have 3 reasons why. Now, if we look at the action verbs, we know we got to write. We know we got to compare things, say what's the same, and contrast things, say what's different. We know we got to talk about this stuff. So we could start off by saying something like, well, if we're comparing and contrasting the Romans and the Americans, we could say the ancient Romans and Americans. Oh, you know what? Let's start a different way. I like it better if we start with our first ones. First keywords: foods, dining customs, and wealth. So we could say the foods, dining customs, and wealth of, you know, we got to talk about Americans and Romans, of ancient Romans and Americans today. We got to compare and contrast, so the same and difference. Are the same and different because, now here's the thing, we haven't really looked at the article, we haven't dug it apart yet, so we don't quite have our evidence yet. But we do know we don't have our claims yet. We do know we need 3 of them. So we could just leave some blank spots, right? So let's leave blank, comma, second blank for our second claim, comma. Oh, now if we're doing a list, we got to do the word and to let the reader know that's our last one. Another blank, and then a period. So once we read the article a little more, get some evidence, get our claims together, we'll fill in those blanks. But that is a really good start. All right, so let's leave it like that. We'll get back into the article, find some evidence, some data to compare and contrast those things. We will come up with what our points are, what we're trying to prove to the audience, to prove to the reader, and then we'll work on our analysis or explain everything to the reader. Okay? All right, thanks, folks. See you in the next video.